Monday, it's me again. I hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to get on and elaborate on something that I said last week. I did a video and I talked about dreams, some dreams that I had, and how important it is for us to pay attention to those and to be in the secret place so that we can get wisdom from the Holy Spirit because things are coming, and not to be in fear, but just to be prepared. And I remember mentioning how lately I've had dreams and they're a little muddy. They're not as clear. I have the dream, but I don't quite remember them. And I mentioned how I knew that that was a sign for me to fast. So, and how when I went on a Daniel fast a few years ago, that was the clearest that I ever saw in the spirit. Now, a fast means to abstain from food. So, a Daniel fast is not, it's a fast, but it's really a diet. You're abstaining from certain types of food, but there's just something about eating fruits and vegetables and all the things that you're allowed to eat in the Daniel fast that it awakens something in your brain, or maybe it just gets rid of the toxins that are making you function in a foggy state. But then I started thinking about how in Daniel it proves what I said about how certain foods can cloud your judgment, your dream life, maybe even your vision life. There are certain foods that do certain things to our brains. They hinder things. I don't know. I'm not a dietitian, so I'm not really sure what the foods are and what all they do, but I just know, just from experience, while I was eating those fruits and vegetables for 21 days, I had the most vivid dreams and was able to interpret them. I remembered them. They were clear. I woke up with most of the time revelation. So I just wanted to share with you in the word that it proves that diet matters when it comes to your dream and vision life. So in Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he was a little shook over it, and he called all of his people, all the magicians, astrologers, all the different people who were in the divination who could usually help him with things like that. They couldn't. They asked him to share details from the dream so that maybe they can get an idea of what the interpretation was. He wasn't even going to give them that. Um, he was going to kill all of the wise men in Babylon, including Daniel and his friends, because he didn't feel like they were worthy. They weren't wise enough for him. So Daniel heard about it, and he went and asked if he could have time to pray, and so that him and his friends can have time to pray so that they can get an interpretation. They were allowed to do that, and lo and behold, they prayed to God, and God gave Daniel an interpretation for the dream, and he didn't even know what the dream was. God gave him the dream and the interpretation of the dream. So he went to the king and told him what God showed him, and he was right on point, and he told him the interpretation of it, and Nebuchadnezzar was so impressed that he pretty much gave God the credit that he was due. He called him the God of Daniel, I think, and his friends. So in the word, though, the most important part of this message is in chapter 1, where him and his friends were in training to become part of the Babylonian, I guess, council, and they were told that they would have to eat a certain type of food. And then being Jewish, they didn't want to touch that food. They didn't want to drink the wine. They didn't want to eat the meat. So um, the Babylonian that was over them feared that if he didn't allow them to eat regular food, that they would be skinny and gaunt, and that he would get in trouble for not following the instructions of the king. So here in chapter 1, let me see what verse. Okay, so I'm going to start in Daniel chapter 1. I will start with verse 11. So it says, Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, Prove your servants, I beseech you, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before you, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as you see, deal with your servants. So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than in all the children which did not eat the portion of the king's meat. And all of the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse, which is, it says here, food. It's vegetables. That's what pulse is. As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge. This is verse 17. As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all vision and dreams. So there it goes. Due to their diet, and it's not just the diet. I'm sure that because of what they did, and they didn't bow down to the customs of Babylon, I'm sure that God gifted them with these gifts, but I really do feel like it also had something to do with the food. It says, as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. So there you have it. Our diet has something to do with our spirit life. So that's really all I had to say. I wanted to share that with you. So Daniel chapter 1 verses 11 through 17. You can go back and look. And then chapter 2 talks about the dream and how Daniel was able to interpret it. But I pray this bless you guys. And may you all's dreams and visions be clear. And may God give you interpretation and wisdom and learning in all things. All right. God bless you guys. Bye.